Okay, so this is the first topic for our session. So I have my research entitled The Lexical Features of Medicine Product Warnings in the Philippines. Okay, I am Shielanie Soriano-Dacumos, of course, from University of Rizal System, the Philippines. Okay, so let me just give you a little background about this paper, why I come up with this. So we've been bannering, or the Philippines was bannering various newspapers headlines globally in April 2016 as the country's Department of Health vaccinated 830,000 elementary school children with the first ever vaccine which claimed to fight dengue. And it was known as, okay, so it was known as dengue at that, okay? So it is supposed to fight dengue. So a dengue is a possible life-threatening mosquito-borne disease that can cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure and life-threatening bleeding. So that vaccination was held before the end of the term of the former president of the Philippines, Benigno Aquino Jr. at that. And then after a year, we changed our president, and such vaccination initiative by the government in 2016 brought panic among parents, as it is labeled by Philippine safety advocates in 2017 in their media campaign that such a program is the biggest government-funded clinical trial masked as a public health program scam of an experimental drug in the history of the Department of Health. And from here, the Philippines Food and Drug Authority withdrew the approval of the said vaccine. So over the stretch of years, the Philippines has been facing numerous medical problems since the public outcry against the dengue vaccine. As a result of this, parents refused their children from having an anti-measles vaccine, which created a medical outbreak in the country sometime in 2018 and 2019 at that, okay? And this is even worse, okay? Just recently, on February 22, news had circulated that millions of vaccine shots have unfortunately expired. COVID-19 vaccine distribution has been tedious in the Philippines due to the fear resulting from dengue controversy. Parents are now refusing to vaccinate their children even against vaccine-preventable diseases, giving rise to a phenomenon known as vaccine hesitancy. Now, these situations have something to do or interconnected with the so-called the product liability cases, so which has three legal theories of liability. One is the product manufacturing defects, second is the product design, and the third is the product warning. Okay, so product warnings are found to be in their optimal position in safeguarding the life of the consumer patients at that. And with the government's concern to safety, the question of not determining the product risk prior to vaccines distribution became the major concern of the panicking public, specifically the parents whose children had been vaccinated by such dengue preventive. And moreover, this issue of not incorporating the hazards on its product warnings created a major dismay to the warning researchers, since the government failed to safeguard the public's right to know and the drug authority's liability to consumer safety. And this is precisely alarming. Okay? So product warnings substantiate the thread of commerce negligence in warning the consumers of possible hazards caused by using the products. In the name of law, the chain of distribution is held liable, and this enters the product warnings in the facade of forensic linguistics. Now, consumers' knowledge and manufacturers' practices about trading legalities remain limited, specifically on the inclusion of the product warning text. Now, product warnings, okay, in terms of liability and product warnings, lawyers who are specializing in this specific field are aware that occasionally product warnings grapple between the issues of adequacy and inadequacy of thoughts. Ross and Adam in 1998 claim that product warning adequacy refers to the qualitative characteristics of a warning, while failure to warn addresses the quantitative aspects. So questions like, is there a warning at all? Okay, has something to do with failure to warn, while adequacy issue has, was the warning provided adequate or was the warning enough? Okay, so from there, emphasizing that the clarity of language is essential in providing product warnings, Republic Act 7394, Article 7 of Philippine Constitution generally promulgates the inclusion of product caution having clear and adequate safety warnings or instruction or requirements. From here, the manufacturers, as senders of the message, are held liable in the construction of the warning text. The message must be available and comprehensible to the consumers as target receivers of the communicative text. If the transmitted message is inadequate, receivers can formulate limited information about the products, which in the end, an erroneous impression can be perceived at that. Okay, from here, I have drawn the research question, which says, what are the lexical features of selected medicine product warnings in the Philippines? So from here, language plays an important role in transmitting health communication information. Likewise, it determines the adequacy issues of existing product warning text available in the mainstream of Philippine supermarkets and drugstores. Okay, so these are my guides in analyzing the lexical features. So I started with the micro level of investigation, which contains the signal words, okay, the noun entities by Lyon, Lakoff, and Van Dyck at that. I also have the synthetic personalization, also analyze Holiday's words in field and tenor continuum, the adverbs of manner, evaluative or attributive adjectives, the temporal and spatial adverbs, and so as the modality or the modals at that. Okay, so from here, okay, the choice of medicines to be included as the corpus was based on the survey conducted among 50 mothers in the supermarkets and drugstores, who usually purchase the medicine needs of their families. And of course, top in rank is the paracetamol. Okay, so we have this famous brand of paracetamol, and basically that's top in rank. Okay, and then how did I go with the data analysis? So utilizing the qualitative method, each text was analyzed based on the lexis, such as the signal words, the nouns, the synthetic pronouns, field continuum, adjectives, adverbs, and modals. So in processing the data, I just utilize frequency and percentage counts were considered and computed, okay? So since the objective of the study was to ascertain the lexical features of product warning text, I did not apply some complicated statistical tools, okay? And let's start the results and the discussion. Okay, let's start with the signal words. And these signal words are very crucial in the warning text. Shai calls it in 2008 as alert lexicon. It is placed before the main text. So actually, American National Standards Institute, together with the Global Harmonization Standards, have set these three important terms to be able to provide alert lexicon or signal words to the consumers. So red means an impending hazardous event that will end in serious injury or death. Warning is a potentially hazardous circumstance that may end in serious injury or death, while caution, a potentially hazardous condition that could end in moderate or slight injury at that. So based on the results, okay, so I have here as my extracts. Okay, so I failed not to name, or I choose to mask the product warnings from different brands. So to keep it somehow, of course, to make it ethical. Okay, so I noticed that the some of the product warnings utilize the precautions. Okay, double cautions, and of course, warning at that. Okay, So based on the results, okay, so I would like to give emphasis on the utilization of warning because it says that warning is an impending hazardous event that will end in serious injury or death. But for medicine number 35, which says warning enzyme should not be used together with this solution, do not boil internal in subtocare solution. But then there actually there's no data warning even mentioned in that particular warning text. And as a result, to capsulate it, okay, these are the usual signal words utilized in Philippine setting. Okay, so we have warning. Okay, so the most common alert lexicon used in the warning was precaution, obtaining 44% of the occurrences. It was followed by caution with 34% and the warning lexicon with 12%. However, I noticed that there are mix-ups, okay, or there are mix-up of signal words, okay, and these were identified which incurred limited percentages in the corpus, at least 2% at that. Okay, but I would like to point out the variation of signal words applied on medicines. It was revealed that there were no standards in the uses of signal word in the existing product warnings. The identified mix-up of signal words reflect the country's unspecified criteria on the use of signal word, to which, according to SHI, signal word is the consumer's first line of defense. If the product liability law in the Philippines will not resolve the mismatch issue of cautioning the consumers, it will lead to confusion and will create a sense of business irregularities. Okay, next analysis is the order of nouns. Okay, Lyon called it the first order entity. Okay, first order, second order, and third order entities. The nouns or noun phrases are significant purposeful parts of speech, which determines the product warning issues, specifically on named identification. Okay, so here, product warnings are categorized and underlined to make the observations. So the first order is usually the first order entity refers to concrete nouns. This could be persons, objects, animals, and other organisms which are situated in space and hold reasonable and envarying perceptual properties. While the second order entity is believed to occur or take place or rather to exist. So the term hypertension, heart failure, redness, scratches, scratch, itchiness, irritation suggested a state of affairs like painful feeling which might take place once erroneous process in using the product will be executed by the consumers. While the third order the third order unit known as the abstract entities or propositions which are outside space and time, this otherness factor may place the consumers in guessing situation at that. So to give you the clear analysis, okay, here is the result of the analysis or the examination at that. Okay, so third order entities, I would like to give emphasis on the 14% of the occurrences in the corpus. Nouns such as any other allergies and inactive ingredients are mental phenomena which the former means another type of allergy while the latter connote a known substance, to which Mackenzie in 2008 emphasizes that these nouns are unobservable, and Lyon highlighted that third-order entities can be asserted or denied, remembered, or forgotten. Such activities are considered an austere no-no in product warnings. Okay, next is the pronoun. Okay, so I would like to give highlight on the synthetic personalization because of the usage of the second person you or your. Okay, so this means addressing of people on a single or individual basis is referred to as synthetic personalization, and it was coined by Fairclough in 1989. This is a method of addressing the mass audience or the consumers as though they were individuals through inclusive language use. While the mass audience here precisely referring to patients, okay? So instead of using pronoun, the word patient is addressed to general public at that, or to the consumer at that. Okay, so the result says, okay, 10% for synthetic personalization and 36% for the mass audience. So communicatively, these two product warnings desire to establish an interpersonal relationship with the readers, one way of articulating the message of the product warnings. Okay, then next, we have here words in field continuum. Okay, and it was based on Holiday and Martison rather in 2004 research on words in field continuum, which highlights the usage of everyday language, the specialized vocabulary, and highly technical words. So everyday language refers to the manufacturer's pure usage of common words in the warning text, which consumers could easily understand, while specialized vocabulary is an industry-specific term which people in the specific field could understand, while highly technical words precisely are the jargons. Okay, and the product safety information message are precisely categorized under these three scales. Okay, so here are the results. Okay, and I would like to give highlight on the highly technical word at that. Okay, so based on the result, the existing dangers are difficult to comprehend as reflected in the 44% of vocabulary in the existing warnings containing the usage of highly technical language. And this goes against the global harmonization standards and Consumer Act of the Philippines citation on the comprehensibility in notifying the product users on existing dangers brought by the medicines. Next are the adjectives. Okay, so evaluative adjectives promote a more precise communicative purpose as to recognizing the kind and type of risk that product users should be aware of once a medicine product is purchased. So I have here the extract, which has something to do with the attributive adjectives. These are positioned before the noun, okay? And these adjectives evoke certain aesthetic feelings that consumers might experience during the product usage, making them aware of the risk at hand. However, identifying the 18% of attributive adjectives in the corpus, it was disclosed that this type of adjective will significantly persuade the consumers to keep away from product risk. It aims to help the product users in carrying out safe behavior. However, its minimal inclusion in the warning text provides a lesser evidence of risk among consumers. Next are the adverbs. Okay, so we identified manner adverbs and temporal adverbs. So manner adverbs incurred 14% appearance in the corpus, which highlights that the conveyed information has disintegrated prosody as coined by Abel in 2003 and have given the product users the emotional hint and the internationality about the manufacturer's desires for consumers to take necessary action. This has something to do with tightly, accidentally, immediately, thoroughly in case of emergency. While the temporal adverb, okay, has something to do with, okay, temporal adverb has something to do with the daily usage or the frequent use of the medicine at that. Okay, and to show you the capsulation, here it goes. Okay, so with the minimal instances of adverbs of manner and time, which respectively incurred 14% and 18% in the corpus, it empirically shows that adverbs are slightly incorporated by the manufacturers in writing the warnings of medicines. This minimal practice in explaining where, when, and how an accident or erroneous event will occur posits limited reference in course of product usage. Okay, then let's proceed to modality, the usage of should and the usage of would and may at that. So these are the extracts. Okay, so from here, Modality is a category of linguistic meaning which necessitates the expression of possibility. So the usage of should incurred 40% in the corpus, which entailed that product manufacturers have their strong desire in warning the consumers. Okay, they have the strong desire of warning the consumers. Strong compliance should be followed by the product user, since there is a higher degree of risk that might emerge in the process of product usage. However, based on the corpus, it failed to mention the nature of hazard and possible consequences that might occur once the product is misused at that. Okay. Now, the usage of may, okay, the low level, okay, may cause serious or possibly fatal liver disease, may cause liver damage of that, though may can also express irrelevance in spite of certain or likely true. It also produces a contradictory effect associated in using the product, okay, such as may cause liver damage. It articulates a serious health effect, which requires a stronger model in the process. Okay. So in conclusion, okay, the investigation of medicine product warnings linguistic features brings up the transparency of communicative features of text. The conduct of analyzing the lexical features of medicine product warnings manifests the communicative intent of product manufacturers, especially on or specifically on helping the consumers in doing and following the product cautionary measures. It can be supposed, therefore, that linguistic features such as the lexical aspect, bring a vital impact on the legal content of adequacy of the medicine product warnings, thus helping the consumers in coming out with an informed decision during the pre-sale and post-sale of the medicine products at that. So the outcome further disclosed that medicine product warnings in the country do not have homogeneous or standardized content pattern, which manufacturers could follow in their labeling duties. As per recommendation, it is suggested that product manufacturers should follow corresponding communicative moves in crafting the warnings and significantly surface the emergence of standardized and regulated signal words based on American National Standard Institute or Global Harmonization Standards criteria on writing the product warning. So setting exact criteria and determining a well-designed warning will facilitate better comprehension and will bridge the gap in creating an improved communication between product manufacturers and the product consumers at that. Thank you very much.